Recording live from Glory Hole Studios in Chicago and beyond. This is Cognitive Dissonance. Every episode we blast anyone who gets in our way. We bring critical thinking, skepticism, and irreverence to any topic that makes the news, makes it big, or makes us mad. It's skeptical, it's political, and there is no welcome mat. Today is Thursday, June the 5th. And I don't know if my voice is any better or not, Cecil. It sounds different to me.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's better?
It's all right. I mean, it's never gonna be the same, Tom. They open your neck up.
I don't know if it will be the same. It doesn't even feel the same inside my neck region.
Well, so. I feel like after a while, it's just gonna all the things will just fall back into place.
It'll all just level back out into a new horrible normal. Yeah.
Dude, speaking of horrible normal.
Yes, sir.
We live in a world where there's a fucking mega thread on Reddit called President Donald Trump and Elon Musk's exchange public criticisms. It's a mega thread, dude.
Dude, you've got...
Like, what the sweet fuck?
This is everything. What this is, I was so happy. I started sending Cecil text messages when I saw this unfolding today. This is like the bitter, angry divorce of two, like, social media over-connected friends. Right? They're just like, they're the shittiest, worst people you know that fucking vague book about everything and fucking constantly fucking tweet out the most intimate, inappropriate details of their lives. And they're getting a divorce right now in front of us on social media. And what's great about it is that, like, you've got Elon Musk and Trump clearly having this very public breakup, this very public airing of fucking Festivus moment, right? It's an airing of grievances, right? And, like, Trump's on his stupid platform he owns, and Musk is on his stupid platform. They're not even on the same platform.
Yeah, I know. They're just not, they have to, someone has to be an intermediary. They need like a herald in between the two of them to scream at each other.
Me? It's like that fucking sitcom trope where, like, mom's mad at dad. The breakfast table.
No one's talking to anybody.
Tell dad to pass the orange juice.
Dude,
it's so good.
So they're fighting. And I know that there's some people out there, and I'm sure that there are some people who are like laughing and think that this is amazing, but I'm so fucking mortified. I mean, you have two guys, billionaires, both of them billionaires, right?
Yeah.
We have two billionaires, oligarchs, people who run, even before Trump was elected, he ran large swaths of the country, had massive, his views changed massive amounts of political opinion depending on where he sat on things. So you're talking about two guys with massive platforms that sway millions of people, even if they weren't elected. Even if he wasn't president, he sways millions of people. And same thing with Musk. Musk literally owns a platform that tunes up people on the far right. Like, it's literally made for that. So you have these two guys, they're fighting each other on social media, and it's mortifying that, like, we've been to this place. We had such like a normal, regular thing going for 4 years, and now we're in this, and this isn't great for us. It's not like that, because it's not like anything's going to happen. The only way anything possibly could happen is if somebody hurts somebody's feelings so bad that they spill the beans on something they're not supposed to, and then somebody gets really, really, then there's a really big problem. I don't know that that's going to happen. I think that I also... I don't know. Let me take that back, because I don't think that either of them are smart. So I will say that they probably are operating on a lot more of an id basis, right? So they're like, as soon as they see it, they're like, well, go fuck yourself. And they're typing with their little thumbs on their phone as fast as they can. So there's a bigger possibility with them dropping something big because they're both really stupid people. But I just wonder, like, what do we get out of this? And what do we get out of it is just voyeuristic people fighting. And the only thing I can hope for is that there's enough people on the Musk side that causes them to go against Trump, and that there's some sort of schism that's bigger than just a weekend fight on Twitter and Truth Social. Do you know what I mean?
I do, but I think I have a different take. I have a different take because I am a worse person. This is like a theme of our show. I am in love with this entire scenario. And I'm in love with this because this is one of those things where like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I just made two friends right now. They're both my enemy.
Yeah.
I think they're both toxic, horrible people for America, right?
I agree.
So as they damage each other's reputations with different, they're splitting, they're fracturing. When they were together, when their sort of constituencies of influence were stitched together, they were Voltron level dangerous. But like, as they fracture, that fracture necessarily, I think, makes them less powerful.
Sure.
You no longer have, Elon Musk is not in the midterms going to follow Donald Trump around like a sycophantic lapdog writing checks for $250 million, pushing fucking election bullshit. He's going to be out there fucking stirring the pot, making people mad. He fucking posted a thing out like, hey, should we start our own political party? This could be the fracturing of the Republican Party.
That'd be amazing. But do you really think that posting something on Twitter is going to make it happen?
I don't think that posting something on Twitter is going to make it happen. But what I do think is that you've got a certain contingency of people. And I think that like elections are won and lost by these tiny margins in important places.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And so like, if you start to strip that away and you start to break that down a little bit, and then you create this weird space that people have to find themselves in where they're like, but fucking yesterday I loved Elon Musk. No, and Donald Trump, and I got a Cybertruck with a Trump flag on it. What do I do?
Those people I'm really happy for. Those people of all the people, those are the people I'm absolutely ecstatic for. I'm ecstatic. I want your whole life to be cognitive dissonance.
Yes.
I want your whole life. I want you to walk through life in pain with your own decisions.
Yes.
That's what I want.
Yes. Dude, there are so many people like that, right? Where they're like walking around like fucking everybody's treading on me. I don't know what to do. Everyone is stepping on snack. Like they're just going to be baffled. They can't, there's no way to logically process this if you supported them both last week.
Yeah.
Last week. And now they are publicly calling the ideas that the other person held that you supported a week ago. They're each like, he's a shitty shithead with shit ideas. And
here's
delicious.
Here's one thing that I do hope Elon Musk's pushback does. And it's convinces maybe one or two or three or four of those Republican senators not to vote for this bill.
And that's the thing.
I
think that could happen.
Thing. Yeah, it might. I mean, I'm not saying it can't. I am saying, like, if nothing comes of this and all that comes of it is just like we got to see a public breakup on Twitter, then
I don't care about that. Yeah.
But what I want is some real tangible something to happen. And look, we've been on the losing side for a while. So it's like, I'm kind of at this point, I'm just like, unless something really big happens, I'm just kind of like, yeah, man, it's just like looking at will I slow down for a car accident? No, I won't actually. I never do. I never slow down. I'm always the guy who's screaming at the person in front of me, like, why are you slowing down? Keep going. Have you never seen a crashed car before? I'm that guy. I'm that guy in my car yelling at the person in front of me. He can't hear me, but I'm still yelling at him.
And I'm that guy who checks the bumper stickers, right?
Yeah.
Because if their bumper stickers are shitty enough, I've got a hard on when I drive past that accident. Right?
And if it's a Trump, if it's a Cybertruck with a Trump flag on it,
come on,
all the better.
Dude, if I see a car accident, it's a Cybertruck with a Trump flag and a fucking no stop, I'm jerking off in the car.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so happy, I can't even stand it. Again, theme of the show always has been the same. You are a better person. But like, I do think, Cecil, that like there's a real possibility. These senators, remember how, because we covered this, like, remember how chicken shit, craven, liars and cowards these guys are, right? Especially like, they're the worst. Yeah. So now they are in this impossible position. Think about the position they're in. On the one hand, they've got Trump, who threatens to destroy their political lives at every step, right? Get behind me or I will destroy you. I'll bring the Trump MAGA machine after you, blah, 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 blah. Then you've got Elon Musk, who's like, I have the biggest bullhorn in the world. I have more followers on X than any other person, and I'm the richest person on the planet. I don't want to piss either one of them off, and they each want me to do something different.
Yeah.
So they're in an impossible space. And I do feel like we need this. This could be the fracturing. I don't know that this is, but like, I feel like MAGA could be the thing that breaks the Republican Party.
That'd be amazing.
And this could be the first wedge in that door.
It'd be amazing. And I think, I'm happy that people are on news organizations talking about this, because I saw it earlier today. It was like all over the news. Yeah. And I'm happy that this is going to get play, because there's no greater way to get under Donald Trump's skin than to play this constantly. And my suspicion is if I was part of these like news organizations, I would make it seem like he's losing. Even if he's winning, I would make it seem like he's losing, because then he's gonna double down and keep going. And so will Musk. Musk will keep doing the same thing. So I think like, and to be honest, if you play it off as just sort of telling people, you got to kind of have one of these like, well, one of them's losing, one of them's winning. I want to make sure that sort of keeps going, because I know that it irks not only them, but the people who are very closely aligned to them. They're sort of most rabid followers. It irks them too. They don't want to lose. Yeah. So they're going to be very, very upset if their side does start to lose. So I just want to, I wish the best for all of them. I hope that they all lose. But I think it's just such a crazy world we live in, where that is a mega thread, where there's a Twitter tantrum. I'm saying Twitter, but it's Twitter and True Social. There's a tantrum going on social media. And this is the thing that the world is paying attention. I just want off the ride, Tom.
I know,
I just
man.
don't want to do it anymore.
It is 100%. We had 4 years where adults were in charge and they made good choices, and politics was boring. Politics was boring for 4 years. That's the problem. Joe Biden, that's not the problem. It's how politics is supposed to be boring, right? Politics is supposed to be complicated and staid and steady and boring. And it should be about, tax policy and, like it is supposed to be serious, with serious people taking nuanced stances on issues of great importance. And that's what it was for 4 years. And we got things out of it, big, important, like massive things like the Inflation Reduction Act, which was such a enormous landmark piece of legislation that nobody pays attention to.
Right.
It's such a big piece of legislation that a huge part of why the big, beautiful bill right now is stalled in the Senate is that the big, beautiful bill rolls back all of the provisions of the Inflation Reduction Act. And it's stalled because the Inflation Reduction Act was so powerfully beneficial to so many people all across red state America. There are districts all across this country whose economies now rely on green energy initiatives, which would be rolled back. Battery plants, Lucid car motors, solar farms, wind farms, the people that manufacture, import, and sell those materials. All of that stuff is getting rolled back with this big, beautiful bill. And there's huge constituencies. So now people on the right, and same thing with the expansion of Medicaid. The expansion of Medicaid through Obama and through Obamacare, like that was a huge expansion. Millions of people qualified for Medicaid as a result of the Obamacare changes.
Yeah.
And that affects people all across the country in red states. And now there are people who voted in the House for the big, beautiful bill who are saying, I wish I hadn't voted for it. I didn't know this provision was in it, or I didn't know that provision was in it. To the tune of Marjorie Taylor Greene said it.
Yeah.
So many people. And now the Senate is like, well, fuck, I don't want to be one of those people standing in front of a town hall getting fucking blasted because the battery factory that employs 80% of my fucking red state, red district town is going to close down if the fucking IRA gets, Inflation Reduction Act gets repealed. They don't want any part of that. Democratic policies were bold but boring. And they were bold and effective but boring. And that sucks because a lot of politics that's effective is boring. This is all drama, but it's all bad for America. I want to be bored by it again, man. I want to walk up to people on the street that then just be like, yeah, fucking, I'm interested in politics. And they'll be like, fucking sports, man. Like too many people are involved now. You know what I mean? Like too many people are fucking following our game now. They're not good at it and they want it to be dumber. And it's gotten dumber.
Now I have to find cool guy so I can bully him.
But God, how much do you love Tim Walz? This is from Newsweek. Tim Walz tells Democrats to bully the shit out of Donald Trump. Let me read what he said, because it's so good. Maybe it's time for us to be a little meaner. Maybe it's time for us to be a little more fierce, because we have to ferociously push back on this. And again, I'll speak to my teacher colleagues in here. The thing that bothers a teacher more than anything is to watch a bully. And when it's a child, you talk to him and you tell him why bullying's wrong. But when it's an adult like Donald Trump, you bully the shit out of him back. You push back. You make sure they know it's not there, because at heart, this is a weak, cruel man that takes it out and punches down on people. What they don't want to do is stand toe-to-toe and punch back with someone who's calling him out for what they do, who's being there, which is a very confusing sentence.
That's not a great sentence. I'm sure it sounded better in person.
Damn it, we should be able to have some fun and be joyful. We've got the guts, and we need to have it put to push back on the bullies and the greed. And I read that and I was like, yeah, you know what? Like, it's not bullying when you cannot bully the president.
Yeah, no.
It's not how power works.
It's impossible. Yeah. It's just pushing back. It's just fighting back. That's all it is.
Trump portrays himself. He does a really masterful job, I think, of portraying himself both as far more tough and powerful than he actually is when he wants to, and also aggrieved. Constantly aggrieved, constantly the underdog, constantly he does it so often, he does it so well that the dummies believe it, right? But like, I gotta be clear, you cannot bully the president. That's not how power works. He's got all the power.
Yeah, I do like what he's saying though. I think that the pushback stuff needs to happen. I feel like way too often, there is sort of this idea that we've seen from some of the Democratic leadership, which is like, just let them do what they're going to do and fuck things up, and then we'll sort of sweep it up after it's all over. And it's like, no, man, there needs to be people fighting against it. I'm seeing tons of really inspirational videos now where these ICE people are starting to do raids, and then they're getting either turned back or they're in the middle of a crowd of protesters trying to do the things that they're supposed to do. They're being essentially shamed by a crowd of protesters who are encircling them and screaming at them. And now maybe that might not change anything, but it's really bad optics. Like, it's terrible optics.
I really do think, let me make sure I was clear. When I'm saying you can't bully, what I'm saying is like, it's not the bad kind of bullying. Like, it's not the bad thing. Right, when we think of bullying, we think of bullying as a being cruel to somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, but bullying is always a power dynamic where the bully has more power. And that's why I'm saying it's something different when we're pushing back on, Donald Trump. It's not bullying, it's something different. And it's essential that we do it. And I think just as essential as the point you were getting at and talking about just a second ago, which is that like, we need to make it impossible for these people to do their jobs. Like at the ground level, like when ICE shows up to fucking raid a workplace, we should make that as unpleasant for the actual humans who are trying to do that job. They should feel bad. They should go home ashamed of the work that they did today. They should question whether or not they want to be a part of this anymore. They should wonder, maybe is it time for me to get a different job? We should make it to where they can't recruit into that agency because nobody wants to do that work because America hates the people that do it. That's possible, right? Like, you can't always affect change from the top down. We can affect change also by making it so unpalatable to be the guy who has to do the thing.
Yeah. What do you think of Tim Walz's chance?
His chance?
Like, he's clearly bucking for something. Don't you think he's going to make a presidential run?
Oh, yeah, I think he might. I think he might make a run for it. I think here's my worry about Tim Walz. Like, I have a superstition around anybody who lost can't win.
Right. Yeah.
And then that's just some bullshit that I said, right? That means nothing. But I have a superstition that anybody who's lost can't win. Obviously, that's not true. Look at the fucker in charge right now.
Yeah.
He lost.
He won.
So I want to recognize I'm wrong about that, but I'm superstitious about it. It's salt over my shoulder. It's nothing.
I'm seeing right now Buttigieg is the one that's in the lead. Now, we're really far out from this, so don't take that as anything. But that's what I'm seeing with a lot of people when they're polling people to say, who would you like to see? Buttigieg is one of those people. I do think, part of me wonders how far left Buttigieg is. I know a lot of people have some real problems with him being like part of like corporate culture and things like that. And is he just another corporate Democrat that they're sort of bringing up to sort of say, hey, there's another guy who's basically just going to bring in a bunch of money for them and listen to all the lobbyists, et cetera. And I wonder, I don't know, like I want to hear his platforms again. And if they've changed since he ran last time, see where he stands again before I make that kind of judgment. But I will say this, I've seen him in multiple debates with people who believe very differently than he does.
Mm-hmm.
And he's really good at explaining things in a way that makes them understand, even if they don't agree. Yeah. And I think like that is super helpful. And I've seen him hitting, he did that circle thing where all those people are around him and they sit down and they, have an argument with a guy. And so he's doing that on YouTube. He's visiting these other podcasts where these people are, really kind of very far right leaning people. And he's going into their house to have these conversations. And I would imagine that who's ever handling him is probably trying to reach Rogan as much as they can to try to get him on their show. But I think like so far that to me appeals to me when I think about who can he reach. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing that appeals to me is like maybe not his positions, but if he can reach more people, and then there's, you can soften some of those positions as he goes through. Because if you look at, the way Biden went through, I don't think he was as far left when he started his primary than when he started the presidency. He was farther left when he started the presidency than when he started his primary. And so I think like there might be something that can happen as a primary happens and as someone, has to take on maybe a more left-leaning vice presidential candidate along with them, things like that might happen. But so far, Buttigieg has been the person who I think people have been seeing more of.
Yeah, I think, I'm going to get fucking lambasted. We'll get fucking a million emails. Like, for me, the most important issue for any Democratic candidate is electability.
Yeah.
Like, if they don't get elected, it doesn't matter if I like everything that they say.
Sure, yeah.
It doesn't matter. They've got to be electable. And every Democrat, even the worst Democrat you've ever met, is better than the Republican. And if you don't believe that, then we can't have a conversation. And I say that with real sincerity. We cannot have a conversation because it is so fucking self-evident at this point.
Yeah.
Right? Like was the world better 150 days ago? Because it just was, right? It just was. Like the world was better. Like it very admittedly, I think at this point, you can't even argue that like Joe Biden probably wasn't firing on all cylinders at the end of his presidency. He was probably a little impaired, at least a little bit impaired, right? And the world was doing better. America was running smoother. Things were going better because it's not just the president sets the stage for like, who are all the cabinet position appointees? Are they a bunch of fucking brain dead ideological lunatics who have no expertise in their field? Well, you know what? They are every time the Republicans get in charge. And when the Democrats are in charge, like the Health and Human Services, that's a doctor, right? Every time. And the education secretaries.
It's not a doctor every time.
It's not?
No, it's a politician often. It's a lawyer.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm wrong about that.
Health and Human Services is not a doctor. I just wanted to correct you.
Well, thank you, because I thought it was. Yeah. All right.
Well, I mean, like they're a manager, like, you know what I mean? Like they're managing a bunch of people. So they don't necessarily need to have an MD in order to manage a wide swath of people, but they should have people who are doctors on their staff.
Right.
Who
and they should believe in science
and believe
stuff.
in science.
Right,
and
right,
so
right.
It's like, if you look at the last, say 10, there's like 1 or 2 doctors.
Really? Okay. Well, I'm dead ass wrong about that, but thank you for the correction, because I thought it was. Like, I think, broadly speaking, the Democrats have done a very good job of appointing experts or people who were respectful of the experts in the field that they're supposed to manage. And the Republicans just appoint like talk show hosts and, wrestling wives and like Amway salespeople. And I'm not even making this up.
No,
it's fucking crazy. It's so. If you don't, genuinely, if you don't think that it matters, that there's really no difference between a centrist Democrat and a Republican, we can't have a meaningful conversation. Look at the Supreme Court. We can't have a meaningful conversation.
Right,
We just can't have one. So, electability is it. I think Pete Buttigieg is great. I also love Cory Booker. I love our governor, Pritzker. I don't know. He might be making a run for things too. I would support any of those guys. I would support happily a ticket with like a fucking Pritzker Booker ticket or a Buttigieg Pritzker, or, like any of those guys. I'd be ecstatic, absolutely ecstatic.
All right, everybody, listen up. I'm closing the restaurant. Storm's coming and it's coming fast. Get home safe, everybody. Don't forget Taco Tuesdays.
So speaking of being aggrieved, falsely aggrieved, the story from the New York Times, asked about taco and tariffs, Trump lashes out at reporters.
He got so mad.
He did. Dude, the audio for this is pretty good.
Dude, should I play it?
You should play it. The audio is pretty good because he just fucking can't even.
Hello, everybody. How are you? You all ready?
Mr. President, Wall Street analysts have coined a new term called the taco trade. They're saying Trump always chickens out on your tariff threats, and that's why markets are higher this week. What's your response to that?
This country was dying. You know, we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. I went to Saudi Arabia. The king told me. He said, you got the hottest we have the hottest country in the world right now. 6 months ago, this country was stone cold dead. We had a dead country. We had a country people didn't think it was going to survive. And you ask a nasty question like that. It's called negotiation. You set a number. And if you go down, if I set a number at a ridiculous high number and I go down a little bit, they want me to hold that number, 145% tariff. And they were having a lot of problems. We were very nice to China. I don't know if they're going to be nice to us, but we were very nice to China. And in many ways, I think we really helped China tremendously because, they were having great difficulty because we were basically going cold turkey with China. We were doing no business because of the tariff, because it was so high. But I knew that. But don't ever say what you said. That's a nasty question. He's got them both.
He's such a baby,
He's
dude.
such a little bitch.
He's such a baby,
What
bro.
a little wimp. What a little wimp. America was dead. It was dead. When was it dead? Was it dead when the fucking stock market was booming? Was it dead when GDP growth was up? Was it dead when unemployment was down? Like 150 days ago, tell me what was dead about the United States when the fucking economy by every metric was improved over what it is right now. How is it fucking dead? Like, what an insane person thing to say.
What I love is how easily this gets under his skin, which proves to me that what we talked about at the beginning of the show, it's so easy for Musk to get under his skin. All you got to do is say one little thing and it'll be like, oh, that's a nasty. I hope he just keeps on calling him Taco like all day.
I know,
just
man.
Fucking keeps on calling him Taco.
Easiest thing in the world is to upset Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Right? Like that
so
guy.
Fragile.
He's the most unbelievably fragile ego.
So fragile.
Ever. Like, this is a guy who, like, obviously his dad did not love him. You know what I mean? Like, fucking, he's got like issues on issues on issues. This is a guy who has spent his entire life as a fucking desperate pick-me. That's all he is. He's the most fucking desperate pick-me little bitch that I've ever seen in my life. And he's so easy. He's the easiest fucking mark. If he wasn't the president, it would be fucking hilarious.
That's the thing though, right? Is that it's so, if he's this easily manipulated by a reporter to get him to flip his shit, could you imagine how easily he is to manipulate on literally anything else?
Anything.
I mean, that's what's so scary to me is this guy's in charge of a lot of things. He chooses, as you can see, there's many different things that he's changed already in our country in the last 100 days. So look at it that way and think, well, if you wanted to get something from him, you could easily make him mad, but think about how easily you could please him, right? If he's this easy to make mad, how easy is he to blow smoke up his ass and then get him to do exactly what you want him to do? How simple is this person to manipulate? And that's the key, man, is like, this guy's a really powerful dude who's in charge of a lot of stuff, and he's embarrassingly easy to manipulate.
Dude, he's seriously, he's a tantrumy third grader.
Yeah, he's like a little kid.
He's a tantrumy third grader. Take his cookie, he cries, give him a cookie, he's your friend. Yeah. Like, this is not a complicated, the thing is, like, he's an emotional basket case, and he's not emotionally complex.
Yeah.
So you're exactly right. Like, if I'm a foreign leader, I'm like, this is the easiest mark ever.
Yeah.
This guy is he's Marky Mark.
If you want him to get mad at you, take his taco. And if you give him a taco.
There are two wolves that battle for dominance inside of each of us. And they're both boys. And they're kissing.
This story comes to the New Republic. Trump loses it at Rand Paul as GOP budget bill seems doomed in the Senate. Now, I don't know that I agree, by the way, with that article. I think the budget bill has a strong uphill battle. I don't know if it seems doomed in the Senate. I think
that seems like that seems like wishful thinking.
I'm not, look, I wouldn't place money on it. I would not place money on this passing the Senate. I really wouldn't. Doomed though?
Yeah.
I think it's 50-50.
Doom feels really hopeful to me.
Doom does feel hopeful.
We live in a world where doomed feels hopeful.
Yeah. So let me read what he fucking blasted out. He said, Rand Paul has very little understanding of the big, beautiful bill, especially the tremendous growth that is coming. Gross. He loves voting no on everything. He thinks it's good politics, but it's not. The BBB is a big winner.
This is amazing. Someone should turn this into a musical, and that's when they sing the lines. That's
and then
amazing.
he has another social or truth or whatever. He says, Rand votes no on everything, but never has any practical or constructive ideas. This is 5 minutes later. His ideas are actually crazy, losers. The people of Kentucky can't stand him. This is a big growth bill. It's fucking amazing.
That's amazing.
Fucking amazing.
What we need is a new children's show called Big Growth Bill.
That would be, I don't think that's a children's show, Cecil. That's my fucking porn name.
Wait a second. No, it's not, Tom.
Okay, modest growth bill. It's modest growth bill. Yeah.
Modest growth.
Adequate growth bill. Emotionally invested growth bill.
Treasury growth bill. Treasury rate growth bill. Yeah.
God.
I just think it's amazing. He's such again, this is another thing. Like, all you got to do is just stand up to him a little bit and he flips his shit. And, what are you going to push Rand Paul around? You're not going to push Rand. Rand Paul will never not get elected in Kentucky. Like, are you kidding me?
Thank you.
Like, come on, man. Like, what are you going to, he's saying, oh, he's not popular. Get the fuck out of here. That dude could not run and he'd win. Are you kidding me?
Let's see how much he ran his seat. Rand Paul. Let's see how much he won his seat by. Rand Paul was 61.8% of the votes, Cecil.
That guy almost got it. Whoever was running against him. Very close.
0.8% of the votes. Yeah, Rand Paul's in a lot of trouble.
He's in so much trouble. It's
Rand
just so
Paul,
stupid.
Who could win if he lost 10% of the votes?
He could literally do what Trump did, which is never show up to anything and still win.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, he's a Mitch McConnell type, right? Where he's fucking locked in. Like, you're in Kentucky. What are they going to do?
Guy?
Vote for a Democrat?
Yeah, come on.
You're in Kentucky.
I mean,
are you kidding me?
Their governor was Democrat, but
that's true.
Yeah, but I don't think a senator's going to be.
That's true, though. Cecil,
I would love to see when Mitch McConnell goes away, a Democrat step up. But I can't. It's highly doubtful.
Can you understand? I'm a stupid person, and I will acknowledge that. I do not understand states that vote in a governor, and we used to do it here in Illinois, that vote in a governor that is a party different than pretty much all of their senatorial and much of their congressional representatives.
I wonder if it's just stay home. I wonder if the only time that these people come out is during these big federal things, and then for state shit, they just don't show up. So I wonder if that's sort of what happens here in our state, which is, very often you're going to get a Democrat who's going to run all these different things, but if it happens to be on an off year when people aren't paying attention, they just don't care.
Like, I think about that and it's like, well, but they have, like, there is enough constituency to get a Democratic governor.
Yeah,
and I don't understand how that
cities, it's larger cities. I mean, they're not large, but larger cities.
Right.
According to the population in Kentucky.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
relatively speaking, right? In relative terms.
In relative terms, they have blue votes. They have blue sections of the state. It's just, you got to turn things around. So, and here's what could happen too, is if this governor is really popular and he decides to run for Senate, he might win it.
Yeah. Right.
You know?
But like, I don't think like Rand Paul is fucking going anywhere.
No,
like I just don't think
Rand Paul.
No, are you kidding me? And I want to be clear so people don't get the wrong idea on why Rand Paul was opposing the big, beautiful bill.
Oh, yeah. It's probably not anything virtuous.
No, it's not because of anything. He was opposing it because he didn't want to see the federal debt ceiling raised. So the big, beautiful bill raises the federal debt ceiling to $4 trillion.
Yeah, so all the rest of it.
Yeah,
he's fine with.
He's not complaining about any of the rest of it. Like any of the things that like you or I would look at it and be like, that will kill people. We shouldn't do it. He's fine with the killing.
He's fine
people.
with it. Yeah, he's fine
That's
with
fine.
that.
He just doesn't want to raise the debt ceiling.
Yeah. But hey, man, even little stuff like that, let's get those wedges in there.
Yeah, man. This is like, I do think, Cecil, fingers crossed, and it's a hope, and it's a fucking, like, I don't think it'll happen, but I think it could happen, and that's what's important to me right now, to hold on to slivers. I think that there is a possibility, and we've talked about this for a long time, I think that MAGA might become its own party.
Oh, it'd be so fucking good.
And
dude.
if that happens, and it splinters the right, because the left is weak as fuck right now.
Yeah.
So I'm not excited about the Democrats right now. I just listened to a thing on the Daily the other day about like the problem the Democrats have, like across like all the counties in America, like almost all of the counties in America are beginning to shift red. Almost all of them. We're in some real trouble. We're in some real trouble as Democrats. Like that's not good news for us on the left. So a hope that we have is to fracture the right. Because if we can't get our shit together, the best hope for us is to let the right break itself. Like just fucking infight like a couple of stupid dogs. Like just fucking bite each other's throats out, you dumbasses.
Hey, buddy! This ain't the way we rehearsed it!
You know what? Nobody likes you, Booster.
Oh, wow!
We don't like you, Dad! We hate you, Booster!
So this story comes from The Hill. Trump was not informed of Ukraine attack on Russia. This, of course, refers to the devastating and really interesting year-and-a-half long planned sneak attack 3,000 miles from the Ukrainian border in some cases that the Ukrainians launched all across air bases in Russia, damaging, depending on the numbers, upwards of 20 to 40% of their bomber fleet. An incredible military strike. Just an incredible, by any measure, just and potentially a game-changing, like in terms of, I've listened to a few things about this and read a few things about this now, a potentially like paradigm-shifting event in modern warfare in terms of how we think about war.
And they were using drones that fly with fiber optics. So they use like a fiber optic like cord, and they have to be relatively nearby. I mean, somewhat nearby. I think it's like a certain number of like it's miles or something like that, but they have to be close by.
Yep.
And they flew these drones in and blew up a bunch of stuff. And it shows you, what they can accomplish, and huge, big deal. And it was sort of during when the United States is trying to take credit for trying to getting them together and trying to, because what you heard from Trump when he was on the campaign trail was, I can end this in a minute. Right. It'll take me a minute and I'll get done with it. No problem. Well, it's been a lot of minutes, like a whole bunch of minutes since he got in, and it hasn't happened yet. And there was no danger of it happening right away anyway. And there's no danger of Putin listening to him. Like, why would he? He doesn't have any reason to. So Putin was going to do what he was going to do. And really what Putin was hoping for, which was what initially happened, which was Trump was going to be his bulldog to force Vladimir Zelensky into to kowtowing to Putin because we wouldn't be on their side as much. And that's what he was hoping would happen. Well, there was huge backlash because of that, and Trump wasn't sure which way to do it because he's really dumb, so he doesn't know what's good and what's bad. And so now he's kind of caught in the middle, thinking he really did believe that he was going to be like a peacemaker. And it's like, oh no, you're just a stupid person. Like you're a really dumb person who thought you were going to be important and you were being used the whole time. Well, now he's upset because they didn't tell him that he was going to do it. And you're like, and I saw a great tweet, which was like, yeah, the reason why it worked is because they weren't on Signal talking about it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Fucking, and like, it is very clear to anybody paying attention that Trump is if he's not an intentional Russian asset, he is an unintentional Russian ally.
Yeah, he's an unintentional stooge for them.
So you're not going to tell that guy That guy's already leaked.
Why would you? Yeah,
classified information.
Yeah.
That's the least secure thing. You may as well just not do it at all.
Yeah.
If you're going to tell Trump, you may as well just shoot the fucking drones at your own face. That's how, just be like, I'm just going to launch these drones right at my own stupid face. Why would you tell that guy? That's telling like the most gossipy person you know, right? That's like being like, well, I've got this juicy information. Who's the biggest fucking gossip I know? Let's call them right now and tell them to keep a super duper secret.
Yeah, I love that they spent this much time planning it out and never told anybody else and then fucking absolutely executed amazing. Like, I love it. I think it's great. And it's 100% like they have been on their back foot. They were invaded. I don't know if you remember, but we were getting like pushback from people
so
when
much.
this
I remember
first
this.
started.
Oh, they're not going to get
invaded. People were like, no, it was Ukraine. I'm like, what the fuck? Or what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like they literally just sat there and someone else like rode into their country, and I'm supposed to believe the other people are the aggressors. Like, what is wrong with you?
Literally makes no sense.
But there was a bunch of people who were emailing us when this first started. Like, no. I think it's definitely Ukraine's. They were the ones who caused all this. And I'm just like, get the fuck out of here, man. There's a lot of ways to get people to do shit other than invading them.
Yep. There was a very Russian propaganda arm that like essentially the argument was like, well, I mean, if you didn't want to be invaded, you shouldn't have been wearing that.
Yeah,
you shouldn't have been wearing NATO. You shouldn't have been wearing that like I love NATO shirt if you didn't want to be invaded. And it's like, no, man, like that was never necessary. That is not like, you don't get to be like, well, I want this thing. And if you don't give me this thing, I will slaughter the people in their hometowns while they sleep. I will shoot missiles at your building. Like, that's not, who the fuck is like on board with like, that's how we should do international politics? No, get the fuck out of here. If you bought that, you just bought into a bunch of stupid fucking Russian propaganda.
Yeah, you bought into the same shit that Tim Pool and fucking Dave Rubin bought.
Yeah, and you did it for free.
Except for they got paid.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, once again, my dear, you've beaten two strapping young bucks.
Excellent.
Did you hear that? That excellent was excellent.
If you were paying attention, you saw this coming. This is from the New Republic. Trump taps Palantir to create master database on every American. Palantir, we've talked about this on the show before. Palantir is the company owned by billionaire Peter Thiel. Billionaire Peter Thiel is the quiet evil billionaire.
Yeah, he's
right? Like, I feel like if you're Peter Thiel right now, you're just like, you've got your fucking steel arm in your volcano lair, petting your cat, just watching all the other guys run around on the surface while you're just like quietly executing your master plan. Yeah. And the dumbass billionaires are fighting it out in the fucking streets above you. Like, they're killing each other and their blood is running in the gutters. And you're just like, excellent.
Yeah, he's not even like one of these like mega billionaires either. He's just like a regular billionaire.
Yeah.
But he's smart about what he does.
Yeah.
Like, he's smart on how he manipulates people, and he does stay out of the limelight. But the shit that he does is fucking terrifying. And this data company that we talked about this on Citation Needed briefly. We covered it a little bit on the No Rogan Experience when we covered Peter Thiel. If you haven't ever heard Peter Thiel speak, go listen to that No Rogan Experience with Peter Thiel, because you get an opportunity to hear him stutter. He takes 37 seconds to answer a question. It's kind of amazing. But if you listen to him, we read an op-ed by him that, it's just dripping with superiority, right? You can just feel it. And the way he speaks, he sort of tries to throw in these, these words that sort of fluff him up a little, and it makes him seem like he's saying something really profound, and he says nothing profound. He's talking about, he's literally talking about like 50-year-old technologies like it's something that we should really care about.
That was so weird.
He's a weird dude. But the stuff he wants to be involved in, and this is in some ways is really smart on his part. If he can get his data company involved in the government, he doesn't give a fuck how they use it, right? He doesn't care how they use the data. He just wants to have his data company be involved in the government. And if they and they aren't going to use it for good things. It's
No,
not like anybody
right.
in the government's going to use it for nobody's going to use it for something nice. It's not like they're going to give us all gifts. We're not getting a tote bag. Like they're going to use it for bad shit. Are you kidding me?
Everybody gets a fucking NPR tote bag or something.
Look under your seat. You get a data miner. Look under your seat.
Like, this is the same company that many people are rightfully afraid will be involved in data collection that's being used, that may be used to monitor women's periods, to track for miscarriages and abortions. Like, and that's a legitimate fear. This is also the guy who literally bought, paid for, and created J.D. Vance as a political entity.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Like, that's just
why
a
he's
fucking
involved in all this.
true fact. Like, there is no J.D. Vance as a political operative without Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel built that motherfucker from scratch, like assembled his fucking weird parts together and built J.D. Vance. This is a guy who is deeply embedded in the economic sort of like foundations and political infrastructure in ways that like we aren't visible enough to, or they don't have enough transparency.
Every time he pees, JD Vance has to hold it. He has to hold it for him.
And compliment
it's in the contract. And then he has to like write his name. Like he has to cursive his name out. He has to be, so you got to get good. Like that's a lot of practice to do that with somebody else's. You know what I mean? Like it's fine with yours, but just to do it, you have to like figure out how you're positioned too. So I mean, like
I love
kudos to JD Vance. You know what I
to be
mean?
fair, crazy billionaire money, I'm going to have somebody calligraphy piss my name with my own dick everywhere I go. Like they're going to like
calligraphy piss.
I'm going to have them fucking, it's going to be nice too. Like, you know what I mean?
You have to have like a board so it's wider at areas than other places. Fucking amazing.
I'm gonna pay extra for like an artist to make my signature or whatever, so it like looks good. I'm gonna have somebody calligraphy dick.
I just feel like every time he needs like a hassock at home, he just calls JD Vance and makes him get down on all his fours and just puts his feet on his back and he just sits there. And then JD Vance just fucking has to take it.
Yeah, just fucking, he's just like, whatever. I just put my feet up on a fucking Vance.
Yeah, everything he needs. Like he's just like, yeah, man, I've got to actually wipe my ass. I need you to come over.
Genuinely, Peter Thiel and Palantir is like isn't Palantir even named after the fucking like?
Yeah, it's something like I think it's that crystal ball in the
seeing eye
rings,
ball
like
thing.
the bad one. Like it's not good.
This is a guy who's so evil, and like I want to point this out too. I've talked about this before, but guys, we're saying that we're evil out loud now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at some point, there's going to be a president Darth Maul, right? And we're all going to be like, we thought that would go better.
Admittedly,
and like, there's
I
going to be
would vote for President Darth Maul.
And like, we're going to be wondering why that's a bad. You're like, well, I don't know. I thought he had some good ideas on trickle-down economics.
I would vote for President Darth Maul because I figure he would probably do that stabby thing right through the current president. And then the trickle-down economics would be all the things leaking out after he cuts them up. That's the trickle-down economics.
God, fucking.
I mean that in a fictional way, by the way.
In Minecraft.
Darth Maul isn't real. I just want everybody to know that.
Friends, let me tell you about another group of hate mongers that were just following orders.
Who's that?
They were called Nazis.
Nazis, that's right.
This story's from LGBTQ Nation. Trans man uses women's restroom to follow the law. Police detained him for it anyway.
Unbelievable.
So this is a person who was assigned female at birth, right? Is living their life as a trans man, is in South Carolina, went to the bathroom, used the women's bathroom, right? So that this is a person who has an ID that says F for female, is biologically female, went into that bathroom, got followed in by an employee who fucking spied on him, and gets fucking detained.
Yeah.
It gets fucking detained. Like, what this tells you is that it's not like, because if this person had gone into the men's bathroom, right, then that would have violated blah, 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 right? Like,
well, they did. And then there wasn't a stall. There was just like urinals or whatever. I don't know where the dude shit. Like,
Where
what
do
do you
people
fucking-
shit?
Do you dump like the guy in fucking like that bowling movie with Woody Harrelson?
Yeah,
Do you remember this?
yes.
Whatever that movie is. I don't know the name of the Kingpin. Where
Kingpin. Yeah.
where he's standing, he's shitting in the urinal or whatever. You're just like, is it like that? I don't even understand how this works. But the person went in and then they're like, oh, well, there isn't a stall. I need to use a stall. So they go into the ladies because that's the only place where there's a stall. They literally cleared it with a worker too. They said, hey, I got to use a stall. Can I use the ladies? They said, yeah. They go in and then someone literally climbed, the owner climbs up over the top of the fucking like stall to look down at the person going to the bathroom. You know, you hear from all these people, oh, there's going to be creeps in the bathroom. You're like, dude, they're already in there.
That's the
creeps are already there. The guy who's looking over the stall owns the establishment, man.
Yeah.
Like, there are creeps in the bathroom. They've always been there. This person just wanted to go to the bathroom. What the key to this story is, Tom, is that there is no safe place for a trans person. That's the real key to this story, is that there's no safe place in America anymore for trans people.
Yeah.
It just doesn't exist. If you want to exist as a trans person, it's not safe anymore.
Yeah, man. And that's exactly it, right? Like the point of this legislation, the point of all of this legislation has never been to keep people safe, because like signs on doors for bathrooms don't prevent rapists from raping people.
Yeah.
It's never been how it works. It's not a thing, right? So that's not been the case. There's really just no documented evidence of any of that stuff. The point is to hate people. That's just the point.
Yeah.
The point is to make people uncomfortable being in society. And the more people can do to make others that are living this way uncomfortable living in society, the happier this other group is. That's it. Because like what they had been arguing for, the argument has always been like, oh, you should use the bathroom that matches your genitals, right? You should use the bathroom that matches your genitals. You shouldn't like trans women should not be in the ladies' room is always what you hear. Well, this person did exactly the thing that everybody says to do, is to use, everybody on the right says to do, use the bathroom that matches your genitals. Well, they did. They're in the place that you think is the right place for them.
Yeah, the key is that there is no right place.
And that's exactly it.
Right?
Nowhere is safe. That's the goal. The goal is to make everyday living as uncomfortable as possible.
Rules are meant to be broken, especially when it comes to insane rules that make zero sense.
This story is from MSNBC. The terrifying reality Trump's megabill creates for trans people. So there is a change to this bill. There was a one-line adjustment to the bill, the big, beautiful bill. And that one-line change, let me find the part from this article so I can read it exactly. A change to one line in the budget bill removed a distinction between youths and adults, thus expanding the ban to hundreds of thousands of people. The ban is a ban on gender-affirming care for youth on Medicaid. It turned into a ban on gender-affirming care for all people on Medicaid, which also means that the ban covers not just gender-affirming surgery, but is also a ban on coverage for hormone replacement therapy.
Yep.
Now, if you're an adult and you're on hormones, you're locked in for it's very difficult. I don't want to say you're locked in for life. It is very difficult to stop taking hormones. Like that's a really hard, your bodies don't adjust like overnight. They sometimes don't adjust at all, right? So there's no guarantee that your body will simply turn the endocrinology machinery back on. So it's a big deal. It's a really big deal so once you get on hormone replacement, you kind of need to stay on hormone replacement or have any transitions away, be managed by your doctor. They should not just be flipped fucking off by a politician who's decided you're done now.
Yeah.
This is nowhere near the same level, but like, I'll share this with the audience. Like I've been supplementing for almost 10 years. I testosterone supplement through my doctor. If I were to stop supplementation tomorrow until my body turned its systems back on, because when you get hormones exogenously, your body's like, okay, I don't need to make that anymore. So it stops making it. Bodies are lazy. They don't do things they don't have to do. They don't spend energy doing things they don't have to do. So like my testosterone is exogenous. It comes from an outside source. If I were to stop supplementing testosterone, my testosterone would fucking plummet until my body decided to turn that system back on. The highest likelihood is that it would turn that system back on, but it is also not a guarantee that it turns it back on. A certain and not insignificant percentage of people, it doesn't turn back on. And then you're either on hormones or you're just miserable. Those are your two choices at that point. So it's a gamble, right? And so like people who are on hormone replacement or hormone therapies, that's a big deal. Like you're locked in. Like you don't want to just like cold turkey snap these things on and off. Changes in hormones can make enormous differences in your ability to function in your life. Like it's not just a level of like, I want my voice to sound a little different, or I want like my muscles to be a little bigger. Like your brain doesn't work the same.
Yeah.
Hormones are full system affecting fucking chemicals, man. It's a big deal. It's a big fucking deal.
Yeah. And what it's gonna do is kill people. That's what it's gonna do. Because you're in this position right now where there's these people who they get in everybody else's business. They can't stop themselves from digging inside of other people's business all the time. So they're spending, they're basically what they're doing is they're using their political power to attack a subgroup of people, a small group of people who don't have much power at all. And what it's doing is it's unifying parts of the worst parts of their base, right? So the worst parts of their base like it when this group of people gets kicked around because they're bullies and they're shitty and they're bad people and they like it when bad things happen to other people. So to them, they're excited for this. So they want to make sure that they do this often. And so that's why Trump on the campaign trail rarely talked about this stuff, but then suddenly once he gets in, he's making tons of changes when it comes to this stuff. And he's encouraging senators and other people to do these changes because for him, it's important to make sure to keep giving electric jolts to that portion of the base because that's the those are the people in that group that really do keep that juice flowing, right? They keep it flowing. Well, people will die because of this. I mean, genuinely, people will die because of this. There's been shown time and time again that when people get gender affirming care, it can be life changing for them. It can change their life. And I recognize that there's a group of people out there that are awful, terrible human beings, but we've got to be better than this. And we've also just got to like stay out of other people's business. Like that's the thing that drives me crazy is like, this has nothing to do with anybody. Like gender affirming care doesn't necessarily mean that it's a gender that I'm wasn't born as or whatever, right? That doesn't necessarily mean that. Gender affirming care is what you just described you get. That's gender affirming care, right? There's never been a change in your gender your whole life. But you get gender affirming care. People get hair plugs. People who get and even just like nose jobs or chin things or butt stuff or whatever, like boob jobs and all kinds of stuff. All that stuff falls into the same thing. And we don't blink an eye when another person does that. But when it's somebody who's trans, it's like this immediate fucking like everybody's got to like have fucking put a spotlight. Fucking mind your own business. Who cares that another human being is existing on a thing that you don't have to take? There's people who take they do the fucking, those breathalyzer, nebulizer, whatever the thing is for asthma or whatever. Right. There's people who have to do that. Like, why should I care that they have to do that in order to survive? The same thing's true for these people who are taking hormone therapies in order to survive their lives. Can we just fucking leave them alone and let them live their fucking lives? Instead, we're like, no, pull all their health care away and hopefully they'll kill themselves.
Yeah, it literally makes no difference to anybody but the people doing it.
Yeah.
It makes no difference.
That's it. That's exactly it.
I don't understand why every libertarian doesn't take that stance.
I don't get it either, man.
Like, I don't understand. I do because like libertarians are liars, right? That's the reason.
Well, because they choose.
Yeah. Every libertarian is a fucking liar. So that's
you're going to choose your pocketbook over anyone else, which is what happened.
Which is it. Yeah.
Okay, why is he telling us that?
Because he's a pathological liar and a monster.
This story is from The Guardian. RFK Jr.'s Maha report found to contain citations to non-existent studies. Failures uncovered as U.S. Health Secretary touted gold standard science in health report ordered by Trump team. this guy wouldn't know fucking gold standard science if it came up and fucking bit him in his fucking parasite-ridden head. He doesn't know shit about science to label something as gold standard. The report has all these like fucking references and shit as references to shit that isn't even real. Like there's literally nothing there. And other things that are in there, like they're referenced and then you go through it and it's like, that's not even what the study says. It's not even what the study says. Yeah. This is more of this like amateur hour bullshit. These are, and I say that with like real intent. These are amateurs. These are amateurs. These people don't know what they're doing. I was having this conversation with somebody one time, a guy that I was actually like accidentally riding a bike with. And he was in some field, some machinist or manufacturing field. And I was like, oh, you know, like how long did it take you to like gain mastery in that job? And he's like, oh, I've been doing this for like 25 or 30 years. And I was like, yeah, so it's not something you could just like Google in a few afternoons or a year and just learn, right? Like I couldn't like be as good at you as your job as you are if I like Googled it a bunch, could I? And he's like, well, no, of course not. I'm like, why would other things not be that way?
Yeah.
That's how expertise works. We all know it when it comes to the thing we're good at. We just have to think about the thing in your life you're good at and how many hours and hours and hours and years it takes to gain mastery of it. Science is the same thing. It's hard. It's the same thing. You can't do this work unless you're trained to do this work. You can't. Yep. I don't believe you. If you're like, oh, I'm a fucking amateur paleontologist. I remember who said that. Like, you're a liar.
Newt Gingrich.
That's who it was. Yeah.
It's Newt Gingrich.
Like, you're a fucking liar. You're a hobbyist, bro.
Yeah, man.
You're a fucking hobbyist. You don't matter.
And in this case, they're not even a hobbyist. They're asking ChatGPT. I guarantee they asked ChatGPT to do this. And ChatGPT hallucinated and created shit out of nowhere.
Right.
And ChatGPT found misremembered or misaligned papers. I guarantee you this was done with ChatGPT. I guarantee you that ChatGPT was pumped in with some of these things, and then it shit out a bunch of citations, some of them that didn't even exist. And it was like, yep, we're just going to put this in there. And no one checked. Not a single person checked. Do you want the people who didn't check to see if ChatGPT got it right in charge of your health? Is that who you want in charge of everything? Because there's not a single person who would say yes to that. Like, it's not good at some stuff.
Right.
It's actually not good at a lot of stuff.
Yep.
Like, it's not good at, like, it's okay at things. And, like, it can be okay at stuff. And, like, people will just take the okay thing and throw it somewhere. But the thing is like, that's what they did with this. And if that's the case, what do I need RFK for? Why can't I just be like, it's Secretary ChatGPT? You're the one in charge. Why don't I just make ChatGPT? Why don't I make a large language model the head of Health and Human Services? Because I guarantee it would probably do a okayer job than him.
It would do a massively better job. Genuinely, if we had just not had any Health and Human Services Secretary.
Yeah.
If we just didn't fill the job.
Yeah.
We just didn't fill
like,
the role.
yeah, you know what? We're just not going to do that.
Yeah. We would be better
Probably
off.
Better.
It'd be much like,
probably
how
better.
would things be going? Better. Like, if we had just taken everything on fucking January 19th and literally frozen those people in place, like fucking sealed everybody, taken the entire government, sealed them in carbonite so they were silent and just said, let's just wait 4 years and nobody move. Everything would be better than it is right now.
So much better than it is right now.
Like no decisions at all. Nobody does anything. Nobody logs in. Nobody checks their email. The phones go fucking unanswered for 4 years. It's better. It's fucking better.
2028, I'm going to have a shirt that says freeze it all in carbonate. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this week. We're going to be back with a funny show on Thursday. We're going to catch you then, but we're going to leave you like we always do with the Skeptic's Creed.
Credulity is not a virtue. It's fortune cookie cutter, mommy issue, hypno Babylon bullshit. Couched in scientician, double bubble, toil and trouble, pseudo quasi alternative, acupunctuating, pressurized stereo.